document. Let me go ahead and save it before I start inserting parts. So I'm going to call this a car set assembly. And so the nice thing about this bottom-up approach we're taking to creating your set is that we've got these individual blocks in their own files, and we can pretty simply drag and drop them into our assembly file. And when it imports those, it'll import those as components. So over here in my browser, like I've got my car set assembly. Now I've got a 2x4 black block, and it is a component, of course, meaning that it has its own coordinate system, which means you can click and drag it around and do some more complex things with it than if it was just a simple 3D body. If you hit the drop-down box by the component, you will see, the actual 3D body for the block and the sketches used in that block. So that stuff is still there, but it has now been transformed into a component that we can use to assemble our designs. You'll notice that little link symbol next to the component. That means that this component is linked to the original file. So any modifications I make to the original file will be able to be updated on my block. And so you'll be a little bit careful with that. If you need to go back and edit your original design to make it work better, those edits will be updated and reflect in any assembly documents that you make from this block. This is going to be my center block too. So one important thing when you're doing assemblies, especially if you have assemblies with moving parts, is anchoring things to a static position. So if I right click this component, let's see, there's an option that says ground. So I'm going to click ground, capture position, and that'll just anchor this first block so that it can't move around. All right, so that's going to be my starting point for my set assembly. Let me grab in a second one of these blocks. And so obviously we're not going to like recreate a brand new model for every single block we need. We can drag in duplicates of this block and you'll see it'll create a separate component for that block. And you can drag and drop as many components as you need to build your design. Now, we actually want to do some assembly work. So, this is Lego stuff. I want to attach these Legos together. So, for example, if I want to sit this block on top of there, you might be tempted to sort of just kind of move that until it sort of looks like it's in the right place. But in all honesty, it's pretty hard to get that perfectly lined up. And in fact, this won't actually be attached. If you click and drag it, it'll move. So that's where the assembly menu comes in. There are two types of ways of joining things together. Hopefully you remember that from the tutorial stuff we went through, the joint versus the as-built joint. If things are already positioned correctly, exactly where you need them, you can use the as-built joint to save yourself a little bit of work. Otherwise, you will need to use this joint tool, which will let you select different connector points. So, for example, I want to join this block on top of that this other block. I got to pick the correct connector points to align those two things. You got to think about how that little connector snap circle is oriented and also the actual points that it's hooked up to. Let's see. That don't look right. That don't look right either. So sometimes what you'll need to do when you create your joints, depending on how those little snap connectors are oriented, you'll need to flip things around and rotate things so they actually look like you want them to look like. So let's see. That looks better to me. Going to click OK. And now we've created a rigid joint between those two parts. So they're attached like, if you glued them together or press them together, they're not intended to move relative to each other. Let me grab a few more blocks and do a little more assembling. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to. Let me put that black block underneath there. So let me grab my joint. And again, getting the correct snap connector points may be a little bit of a trick. Like that point right there. Actually, I don't think that's going to work. Yeah. Okay. Worst comes to worst, if you get a weird joint that doesn't look physically possible, you can always hit Control Z and try your joint again. So let me try that one more time. There we go. Let me stick this one on the back. There we go. And let me grab this little 1 by 1 block and make a smokestack for this. All right. So that's my basic rigid blocks for this little car I'm going to make so far. Let me go ahead and save those changes that I've made. Now I need to add axles and wheels. You'll notice over here in my building blocks demo student files, I've created a axle block that has a 2 by 4 block with a wheel. Now, these things are components inside this file. And I want to show you real quick how to do what's called a sub-assembly. So this is a different file than my assembly file, but you can actually put assemblies in your assemblies to save yourself a little bit of work. For example, I need 2 sets of wheels and axles to create my little Lego car. So let me go ahead and do the assembly work here in this axle block file. I'm going to grab my joint. And here I want to attach this wheel to this axle, but I don't want a rigid joint. A rigid joint can't move. The whole point of a wheel is that it rotates around its axle. So I need that to be able to move. A similar process for selecting those snap connector points that should line up. So if I press this wheel on here, that little snap connector that I picked there should line up about with that snap connector there. But you'll notice another tab in your joint menu called motion. If you click motion, there's a bunch of different types of motion we can simulate using this uh, joint tool. And so I'm gonna select revolute, and it's pretty good about picking which axis it needs to rotate around. And it looks like it was rotating around correctly. So now I've got a revolute joint that'll allow my wheel to rotate. If you want to see that rotation, you can go to your joints in the browser menu. Um, right click and you can drive joints, and that'll give you some handles that you can use to see how that action actually happens. And so that's now has a freedom of movement that can actually rotate like it would in real life. Let me create a copy of this wheel. Yeah. And let me attach one on the other side so I have a complete axle assembly. So again, joint, just to keep it consistent, I'm going to grab make connector on that side, which will probably require flipping that. Hit OK. And now I've got a wheel assembly with 2 revolute joints. Now I want to use this assembly in my car set assembly. So let me go ahead and save those changes that I've made. I'm going to close this file here. And so now, similar with the individual blocks, I can drag and drop my axle block assembly. Just move that out of the way, and we can start assembling this. So, the axle block here, if you hit the little drop down box, you'll see, it's got the block, the 2 wheels, as well as those joints we made in that sub-assembly file. And then we can still use our joint tools to try and line up the correct points to attach these things together. I don't want a revolute joint there. What are you thinking? Let me change that to rigid. There we go. Flip that. Get rid of the rotation. There we go. That's where I need it. That should update everything. And now I've got, wheels on the front of my car. Let me copy another copy of that as sub-assembly. And you'll see why there's an advantage to using the sub-assembly approach to joining things together that are a little more complicated. Because instead of having to repeat that process I just went through with the revolutes around the wheels, if I already have that done in my, sub-assembly file, I can just drag that into my final assembly file without having to recreate that same work. Let me stick one of these. See if I can get the rotation right on this. I think I clicked the wrong things to line that up. So let me Control Z and try that again. There we go. Bam, there I've got a lovely little Lego car assembly. Um, And you'll notice in the browser, I now got a list of all the components that I need in this design, which is excellent. If you have not been keeping up with naming your components or naming your files over in the data panel, I would encourage you guys to make sure you go back and add some parts names because that'll actually be pretty important when we create our final blueprints for this design, since it'll use those names as the parts names on our blueprints. But if you have those in your assemblies and your sub-assemblies, you should be pretty much good to go. I don't know that there's a whole lot more like complex motion that we need to look at for this particular type of design, but you're welcome to explore some of the different joint types from the assembly menu. Um, I think that should be everything you need to know to create your very own Lego set assembly. If you don't remember looking at the design brief, we're looking for an assembly that is something reasonably interesting, something that includes 10 to 15 individual parts, and those can be any combination of the demo blocks that we went through in class or the blocks that you've created on your own. And use the assembly tools to actually create the joints between those components to create your final design. So I'll let you guys have at it. If you got questions, feel free to shoot me an email or I can help you when I get back to class.